Hey guys, it's Tim Windsor. Welcome back to the UNCOMMODiFiED podcast. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, you'll see that I'm in a different place today. If you're listening on the podcast, let me describe it. I'm in downtown Atlanta. I'm down near the old Ebenezer Church. You might know it historically as the church that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a pastor at and spoke at during the Civil Rights Movement. There's a national historical site here. There's the King Center, his homestead, all of this down in this area to just keep inspiring people. And whenever I come to Atlanta or this area for business, I always come in a day earlier and come into this area and just walk around and drink in the idea and the ideals that MLK espoused. And for those of you who've been listening to my series that I've been doing on unenders, you know what an unender MLK is. His legacy still lives on, and one of the things I find fascinating when I come down here is that in the park just adjacent to where I am right now, they continuously play his speeches, his sermons, things that inspired people. And that won't happen for you and I in the same way, but still what we say and what we do leaves a legacy, and it'll last beyond us. And every time I come here, I get challenged in relationship to what am I doing to serve my community? What am I doing to bring justice in areas that need to have justice? And that's my challenge to you today in this little small episode. And that is where you see injustice in your world, whatever that might look like. I would just really encourage you in the spirit of MLK, obviously not a perfect man at all, a complex and troubled man at one level and an inspirational hero at another level. And if you're interested in it, you can go back early on when I started podcasting. I did an uncorked conversation with Craig Minchin about MLK. If you want to look it up, it's one of the early episodes. If you haven't listened to it, maybe you want to go and listen to it. But I just get so inspired when I come here, and it challenges me about being a servant of good, doing something in my community and my world to address injustice, as I said. And that could be on a small scale or a grand scale, but I just want to challenge you to look at the world around you and ask yourself, where is injustice? Where are things that absolutely are unjust? And ask yourself, what can you do about that? And I think the problem with this conversation is that we feel that our little thing that we could do is so insignificant that it's not worth contributing, and I think that's the problem. Because we don't believe that we can make a real difference, some of us do nothing. And when many of us do nothing, then nothing is done. When many of us do nothing, nothing changes. And of course, injustice and hatred and bigotry and these things are a matter of the heart. We can't heal it in society. We can't heal it in our community. We have to heal it in our own heart. And when we do that, then our communities will ultimately be transformed. MLK talked about the idea of being a servant of justice. And it's interesting, just across the road from where I am right now, his remains and Coretta Scott King's remains are interned in the middle of a waterfall sort of pond, and it has inscribed on it it's a statement that he made, and it really comes from the Old Testament, which was something that was dear to MLK, and he spoke about it a lot from the Bible. And it talks about the fact that they were waiting for a time for justice to flow like a mighty river. And I would just really encourage you to be that flow. Be that flow of justice in your community, in your family, in your world. Depending on where you are in the world, we all have different issues that need to be solved still. That we have unjust historical problems, we have unjust current practices. So all I'm asking you to do is make a small contribution. Drop your pebble in the pond and see what cascading effect could come from it. Let's continue to become better people every day. Let's address racism in our heart. Let's really address injustice in our workplaces everywhere that we go. And if you have a chance, wherever you live, go to a place that inspires you. Again, like I said, I always come down here when I come down here, and there's something about being at this place where so much happened in this movement towards justice. It feels like the spirit of that still lives here. And when I come here, I get inspired, I'm challenged, I'm humbled, and I am provoked to ask myself some better questions. Hope you have an excellent day. Let's go out and be servants of justice in our community. Thanks, cheers.